Welcome to TTBoy TV. It's TTBoy with Lexington Steele.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Today we have a different type of show. We're going to talk about this pandemic, the coronavirus that's sweeping the world and scaring everybody to death. And we're going to talk and try to understand what we believe the impact will be on the business.
Right.
Today and the future.
Yeah.
In the future will be, I'd be kind of scared. Really kind of strange. Mm-hmm. But today is Easter Sunday. What is this? April 14th? No, 12th?
12th, yeah.
April 12th. Easter Sunday. It's about 2 o'clock. And we're here. Thanks, Lex, for coming and sharing Easter with me. I got no friends.
Yeah, we're not having no big dinner, no ham, and
I want to do the Easter egg hunt, man.
Easter egg hunt. Yeah, look, Los Angeles is on lockdown. So
yeah, we're downtown right now, downtown LA, right next to Staples Center, and there's nobody out.
No.
It's like,
it looks like
ghost town.
Ghost town. Like an early Sunday morning, like 5 in the morning. It looks like that, and it's midday Sunday.
Exactly. It's crazy. Yeah. I want to make one real quick point. I want to thank all my guests from the bottom of my heart for coming and sharing with me their stories and their time. Okay, so all the people out, including you, Lex, thank you. Thank everybody that has come on the show. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah. And I also want to add in there, if you're a person and you appreciate these interviews, then I really appreciate that you appreciate them. But if you're a troll who's out there trolling, please go someplace else, because we do not accept negative comments on the show. Okay? On that tone, let's get this going. So first of all, let's start out with a simple question, right?
Right.
Right now, since you're here in front of me, what kind of impact has this coronavirus had on you?
Well, for me personally, I've almost been in a situation of social distancing anyhow, because as many people may not know, I haven't been able to get around so much because I need a double hip replacement. I'm about to get the surgery done in a couple of months, finally, as you know. And But so I really have been out and about. So I really have a lot of practice at social distancing anyhow. You know what I'm saying? In the quarantine thing, like I said, I've been, at my place, like my own personal sanctuary for a number of months now, So this is really nothing new. But now we're at the mandatory wearing of face shields of some sort. And that's when it's gotten pretty serious to see that people are getting arrested for not doing something like, covering up their face in public. But economically, I would have thought there would have been somewhat of a greater impact because people were going to be spending a lot more money at home watching XXX Media.
I was going to ask that question. Yeah, you think they are? Or they must?
Let me tell you something. Pornhub, I believe, was putting on a sale, like either free for a month, or there was like a free for a whole month, something like that, where, as a producer, you're thinking, man, like this would be a good month because everybody's going to be watching and then therefore paying, and they gave it away. There'll be an impact in a lot of different ways. For me personally, getting, just the minimal stuff, like whether it's just buying stuff at the grocery store, not being quick enough to get,
some toilet paper.
The toilet paper, basic shit.
Yeah, you can't run right now, so it's torture.
And so, you got to do a little bit more shopping to get stuff. But I've taken advantage of it as well. In some ways more than others,
How's that?
Well, for instance, perfect example. I bought a car, and in my negotiations with the guy on the price, I knew that his business was about to be very, very slow over the next 60 to 90 days. And I kind of infused that into my negotiations. So he understood, like, it'd be better that he took my money than my walking away. And so I kind of, it saved me like about $2,000 below what he was going to charge me,
And
or what was listed at.
what was the price of the car?
It would have been like 18.2.
18.2.
Yeah.
So that's about almost 10%.
That's what he wanted.
10% down almost.
I paid 16. So I saved myself like $2,200, all included, right? But it was a case where I told him, that my business was going to be very, very slow because of this. And I assume that everybody else's business is going to be slow because of this as well. And I'm sure yours is going to be really slow as well. Like, wow. And I actually said to him, like, well, what is it going to be like for the next 60 to 90 days? Right.
And that's perfect timing. You know what they say? I don't want to be whatever, but let's say this. A lot of people know that when bad things happen, catastrophes, you might call it, it's time to take advantage of the situation monetarily.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. That's the way business people do it.
Yeah.
So sometimes you think these events like this could be so somebody could take advantage, capitalize on the crash. There's going to be economic crash, no jobs. There's going to be less jobs when the things come back, online or, come back to fruition. People start moving around. Still going to be less jobs.
And there's going to be billionaires being made.
Exactly.
Just like you saw in the economic recovery in the former Soviet Union, birthed a number of these oligarch, they call them, right? But the term an oligarch, whatever that, I might be mispronouncing it, but whatever that word means, really didn't exist before these guys, this newfound money, Russian money, came about based on their economic recovery. And so what's going to happen here is you're going to see, billionaires be made based on the economic recovery we'll experience here in the U.S. But there was a problem. A number of politicians or senators, right, got busted.
Selling stock.
Now it's like, okay, now are they supposed to? Okay, so they're in a meeting. It's a catch-22, right? Because what are they're supposed to sit on their hands, knowing they're going to lose their whole life savings, right? And they've been told something that day in their office. In about 22 days, the shit is going to hit the fan, right? Are they supposed to be like, damn, I'm going to lose everything when,
No.
I don't know.
No, you can't. Yeah. That's retarded. You have to do what you got to do.
Well, yeah. And maybe they have those assets in a trust that's managed by someone other than themselves. So they can have plausible deniability. And maybe that guy, that guy over there knew. He
sure.
Knew. That's why I pay him so much.
Hey, I mean, we're not politicians, but it seems to me like a lot of politicians capitalize at the right time.
Yeah.
So, I'm not a hater. I'm a congratulator, but I don't like to see my people get, destroyed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the problem is that they knew they've known about this months before it really has hit pay dirt, when shit started happening in the West, in the East, China, what have you. They've been dealing with this for a lot longer than we probably comprehend as Americans, because we can't keep shit under wraps here in the United States. And someone's going to find out. You got Joe Rogan, right? He's, it'll come across his airwaves. Every topic comes across his airwaves at some point, right? They talk about something, and you can find a little nugget of information, a little granule of information, and a year or two later, holy shit. So, this is great. I mean, look, we're in the middle of something that will be historic, right? Our children and grandchildren will speak about this as they read it, online some 20, 25, 30 years from now, you know what I'm saying? And so hopefully life will return to its relative sameness. But if you look at what happened after 9/11, the airport system never returned to anywhere near it was. I mean, many people that are young today have never dealt with an airline or a flight where they have to take off their belt and their shoes and
have your nuts grabbed.
Yeah.
Just between me and you, that's a point that really gets to my heart, because you pay good money for an airline. You're paying them.
Yeah.
But in order to get to go on that flight, you get molested, you get attacked, you get disrespected by so many people in so many ways.
Yeah.
It really, you'd say, I'm an American and this is how I get treated. It really, for me, it seemed almost like psychological warfare.
Well, it means in some ways that whatever happened in 9/11, whatever the purpose was, in some way they won. Beyond just the destruction of the buildings, but it changed security and psychology of the psychology of coexistence,
which is what's going on right now.
Yeah,
this is going to change our brains.
Yeah, and it's an attack on peaceful coexistence, because at a certain point, if you see mandatory, curfews and what have you, resources start to get thin. America may not be so much of the first world country as we might think we are. You know what I'm saying? So
I just want to bring one quick little fact. I was in mainland China in 2011 working on, trying to get them to make some goods for me. Mm-hmm. And I was there and I was watching America drowning. Or maybe it was 2011, 2012. And America was drowning, right? We were trying to come back, right, from the economic crash from 2008. No, there was no construction going on in America. If there was, it was so minuscule that you can't even see it. Okay. I'm in mainland China. I'm in Shenzhen. I'm in Beijing. I'm in Shanghai. And I'm in cities outside of those cities. And I'll tell you, when I'm on these trains, commuting, I see probably 50 huge skyscrapers, Empire State Buildings being built in every city. Trillions of dollars into their infrastructure. And we don't have shit.
Right.
And so people just they're not there, they can't see. But I was there and I saw and I said to myself, they're taking all our money. They're working for it, I guess. You might say, whatever is going on, they have everybody's money. And they're doing the intelligent thing to building
up infrastructure.
They're doing they're intelligent people. Whatever they're doing things correct because they have all our money.
Right.
And so I see this happening and I say to myself, why? Well, then Trump, I know a lot of people don't like him, but I'm just going off what makes sense to me. And I'm not in the White House and I don't have all the research on every document. But from what he says, all these countries are not paying the just tariffs,
right?
Which is tax
against,
to America.
Okay.
Everybody has made these side deals. The politicians and everyone made these side deals. Yeah. So the other countries capitalize on our money and our ass. And I was in China and I see that they had a lot of money being built. You don't build that with air, or you build it with dirt. You build it with dirt, but you don't build it for free. It's a lot of money.
It's not private finance that builds that measure of infrastructure.
So have you heard from any of the other talent how they're coping with this? How are they paying their bills? And are they undercover still shooting? Some of them.
Well, okay. As far as the guys, the guys are at a very big disadvantage. The straight guys in the business are at a disadvantage because the girls that they're normally shooting with are not shooting either, right? So if the studios aren't shooting, then the individuals are not shooting. Now, the females, they are still working. Now, when I say they're working, most of them operate as well. In gentlemen's entertainment, right? So they can still be doing their work outside of porno. But the guys are at a hard between a rock and a hard place now.
So you think that possibly some of the girls might be escorting and still escorting. You heard?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's
the
not
girls
stopped.
are still, well, no, it hasn't stopped.
Slowed.
It has slowed.
By what percentage? 50%? Would you have heard?
As far as I know, some girls are at least down 50%. Okay. Now, the problem with being down, say if they see, 4 guys in a week, now they're seeing 2 guys in a week. How fast does that multiply into now your pockets are this thin this week, but next week they're twice as thin. And then the week after that, they're 4 times as thin. And that's what's happening. It will exponentiate as you lose the next one. The loss of the next one is you multiply that by a factor of 2 or more, as you lose progressively from 4 to 2 to 1 to none. But the guys in the business, what do we do? And while I'm not a performer as much anymore, so what I'm saying, the guys that are relying on working, what are they doing? I can't speak on it. Now, if you look at,
have you talked to someone?
Yeah.
Who'd you talk to?
I've heard, well, obviously, I've heard from Dredd. I've heard from a couple guys that I won't mention because we put their name and they can't respond on their own. But what I am saying though is everybody's trying to shoot onlyfans.com. But the problem is when you can't shoot alone. The girls aren't shooting either, but if the girls are hooking up with the guys that are available, they do manage to get a little things done. What's happening with a lot of straight guys is they're doing a lot of solo male masturbation on OnlyFans, and they're availing themselves to fans that they would not normally acquire because most of the media they have is them working with the girls. So,
that's and sometimes they're custom videos, right?
Yeah, custom videos. If a guy is posting on OnlyFans solo male masturbation, he's already been doing custom stuff. Now the problem is, and this is funny, but the problem is whether or not the guy is doing something in such a way that aggregates one type of fan, male, female, the other, or any sexual preferences other than what you purport as a straight performer. See what I'm saying? So just how far you will go. Are you selling the stroking of your dick, or are you selling your asshole as a visual?
This brings my point up completely, right? This is what the people must understand. I'm going to go back that it's all about money and survival. Yeah. Right? And that is the way it is. Yeah. Look what people are going to do. They're going to, I wouldn't want to be part of that. You know what I mean? And
but
some people have bills, right? Mm-hmm. And they have overhead. Yeah. And this is scary shit.
And the resource has been stopped. Boom, like stat. Like next thing you know, everything dries up. I feel for now that we're in a digital media, those like ourselves who have catalogs that have been converted to digital to digital media, so the masses can access it. We're in a good place. But for those that don't own the media that they are appearing in, now that they are now that they're not doing or creating new media, they have no connection to the media they've participated in, and so there is I do have a concern for other male and female performers that don't own media, so they're not going to get royalties or they don't have any checks come hell or high water. You know what I'm saying? They got to go and kill what they eat every single time. What happens when the resource is cut off?
Yeah, no, this is going on right now.
Yeah, yeah.
You think that sometimes people might have 30 days, 60 days worth of backup money, right? Maybe 90 days, right? Because the rent becomes expensive, especially in Los Angeles. Yeah. But a lot of people are in Vegas too nowadays, which is more reasonable. Mm-hmm. But you have car payments, you have your apartment or house payment. Mm-hmm. You might have 2 cars. Right. You have insurance, you got food, you got your girlfriend or vice versa.
Significant other, you know what I'm saying? You got your recreational activities.
Yeah, and you have all that stuff. Yeah, you smoke weed and you drink or whatever you do to make yourself feel good.
Right.
How many people in the business have enough backup money to carry them through 90 days?
Dude, let me tell you something. 90 days is an eternity. Not only for the current generation. I mean, I think that in any fast money business, cash and go business that we're in, from a performer standpoint, it's a dire situation because 90 days is thought of as being so far away. So let's ratchet it back to maybe we're talking about a month. See what I'm saying? If you're in a cash and go business, maybe 2 months, maybe this check, this rent month, and next month's rent. But the rent 3 months from now, forget about it. Can't even contemplate that. See what I'm saying? So they're looking to make it to pay this month and next month. But after that, they're in big trouble. And that is not something that is limited to the industry. I think that probably is a representative statement for a lot of the United States of America.
Oh, I'm thinking, what about mainstream media too? I mean, we don't want to take away from them, across America, but everybody probably. We're probably talking about 90 days probably affects 90% of America.
90 days, you're talking about wiping people out. Like 90 days would, in my opinion, 90 days of this circumstance would be destructive to most Americans, to the point where it might not be recoverable.
How do you? Because now you're going to be in a hole.
Yeah.
You're going to owe all the creditors.
Right.
The banks own your ass.
Right. But okay. What about these programs that would allow your creditors to give you leniency? But the problem is you can only expect them to be lenient for a month or two. Around that third month, they may not come knocking for the previous 2 months that you didn't pay them, but they will be knocking. See what I'm saying? So now you've escaped it for 2 months, and they're not retroactively asking for the money back, but now they are asking again. See what I'm saying? And that's what's going to wipe people out.
Which brings me to my earlier comments, that it's all about money.
Yeah.
Because it puts everybody, in a state financially that you got to run hard as you can to chase what you had. What you had. Mm-hmm. So you're chasing it, and then maybe you catch it and you're out of breath, right? And now how can you recover? Now you got to try to recover. So it's like, it's going to be rough. It's pure hell. Yeah. So for everybody, but like you say, the business from when I was in the business was more of a free love, free money, come to work. Most people, I was different than most people, but you have some fun, do scenes, chill out, life's good. So this is probably still the same for a lot of people, and this is going to affect them. 90 days is going to destroy them.
Yeah. Well, I think now you have, with the introduction of social media, you get a chance for people to promote themselves in ways they weren't able to before, right? So now, if you want to build up your own presence and monetize your presence, every individual can do that, right? So bearing in mind, now every individual incorporates, and every individual now considers themselves their own studio. So they have the opportunity to make money independent of waiting for, mercenary pictures, or evasive angles, or whomever to pay them to shoot. By the same token, it's short money. And the problem is everybody that's operating on a short money basis, it's going to be very, very difficult in a very, very short time.
Yeah, I mean, I want to bring up a point. When I was in Colombia 10 years ago, I was in South America a lot. I was in Colombia, we're shooting, and I saw when you get the receipt, and I've just seen this lately in America, right? But I never had seen it before 10 years ago. And you're out there and they give you the receipt from your Visa card, right? They give you the opportunity in Colombia to pay in 1 year.
Pay what?
The bill with interest. right? With 20% interest, right? So even a lunch, they will give you the opportunity to pay later.
Wow.
So I've seen this in America now. I've seen it the other day, right? So basically, this is almost similar to what's going on. The people, you get in a quicksand, and the banks own you. You don't own yourself anymore. You're financially owned. Your ass is owned.
Wow.
And so they just keep you in a quicksand, and no matter, it's gonna be hard. Just like almost like the student loans.
Yeah.
Similar, a little bit, but not really. You know, a little parallels. But you're stuck. And I saw that 10 years ago. And I could have sworn I saw a couple receipts the other day. And so imagine that come right now at this point in time. It's the perfect time. And what happens? 20% interest on your ass. Do you know how much 20% on your money is?
Yeah, it's compounded.
It's humongous.
Yeah, yeah. And it's unregulated and unrestricted as well in the collection, you know.
And you can't, it's almost like when you have 20% on your money or 29%, right? They have different, rates on the credit cards. They sneak in there. They'll never lose.
Yeah.
You won't lose. They won't lose.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible equation to lose. It's almost like a Vegas odds. Anyways, I mean, you're right. It could be non-human made. It could be, by Mother Nature just trying to get the bad energy off her shoulders. Yeah. Because we've never seen energy like this in the world.
No.
I haven't.
No.
I remember 30 years ago, it seemed like 90% of people are pretty cool. Right now, it seems like 90% of people are pretty much fucked assholes.
Yeah.
I mean, am I wrong or am I tripping?
No. But I mean, look, every as we grow as a species, there are certain increments that we arrive at, and some of them are good, some of them are bad. Not for nothing, one of the worst one of the best things, obviously, if you go all the way back, was the introduction of fire, right? And then you have the introduction of metallurgy, whether it's copper, then iron, then steel, aluminum, what have you, titanium, right? But then also the acquisition of nuclear knowledge and the splitting of the atom, the arrival of the splitting of the atom has ushered in a point of mankind, a point of no return in a bad way, right? So there's good stuff. Okay, we discover fire. We discover the manipulation of metal, but then we discover how to split the atom. We discover space travel. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so space travel is good. Time travel, is that next? I don't know. Yeah. So,
I'm looking forward to that one, man. I want to go to the Old West.
Hey, let me tell you something. They get time travel.
Where are you going?
I ain't going backwards. I'll tell you that. Wasn't too good for the brothers as farther back we go. I mean,
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I might go back as far as like the 70s because I like the experience of free love, right?
60s, 70s sounds like a good time.
Not the 60s, but the 70s for me, right? Because the way that the sex was really, they say, was pretty available. And then the 80s, because I want to experience some of the drugs that they had in the 80s, because that was when most of them were newly introduced and in a much purer form than what we see today in these same illicit drugs.
Like cocaine.
Well,
this is the 70s deal for cocaine. Well, cocaine's been around a long time, but it's more pure.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I can dig it. Yeah. I want to go see some dinosaurs. No, I want to see the Old West.
Yeah, I like to see dinosaurs.
I want to see the 20s. I want to see what's going down. You know what I mean?
You can tell me about the 20s.
But it's not. But I don't think it's so rough. It is, but it's not New York. Harlem. It's not. You still can get I think you still live and have fun. No, you don't think so? Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't there, so.
No, you know what I'm saying? Anywhere between.
Yeah. Okay.
I would, if I went back in time, it would have to be like prehistoric because I'd like to see that.
Dinosaurs running around. As long as we got some weapons and we know how to.
Yeah, man.
Don't get eaten. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, let's get back to the business. So mainstream companies are giving relief to their employees. I heard, right? The government is giving relief.
Yep.
How are the performers and crew getting relief?
Absolutely none whatsoever. Now, the only people that get a chance to get relief would be the crew and the people that maybe perhaps work within the studios for the studio houses.
For regular studios, but not the adult.
I'm talking about adult.
Adult. Oh, so you think they're going to get some action? Some relief.
If you work at a studio at one of the production houses and you work at the office, and there's a shutdown, you will get relief because you filed your taxes as normal, and you can apply for relief as normal.
I got you.
If you're part of the crew, now you can file for unemployment. Number one. Number two, you could probably also be eligible to get the relief check in. Now, if you're a performer, i.e. if you're an independent contractor who's responsible for the payment of their own taxes thereof, then you are not going to be exposed to that relief because you have not paid your taxes in most cases, in all likelihood. And in that case,
right.
There's no way for them to send a check to you because if you were to come above board to present yourself for relief, then you'd identify what your bank account number is. And so when they do send you that relief, whatever relief that they have for you, at a certain point, now you are a part of the system and they can take it as they have given it away. So at a certain point, they'll come back and get the money that they gave you because you haven't been paying. And so now you want the relief, we give it to you. So it's like a lot of people in the industry will not come forward for relief. Those that are independent contractors in front of the camera. And so the problem is compounding, like we spoke of earlier, a month to 2 months, but that third month is where it's really going to be very, very difficult because there's no relief coming from the federal government for those that are performers in front of the camera. If you're not a part of the establishment, then like the third month is something that is like so far around the corner. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, take me for instance, boom, I was supposed to have surgery on my left hip replaced in June. They said that is now going to be August, right? So, and then it also puts out the operation on my other hip, as well. So it's like you got to look at the fact that now everything is pushed farther and farther out.
What does that do?
It's devastating.
Congestion everywhere.
Yeah, there's congestion, but it's just a notion that first and foremost, monetarily, 4 months is a long way away. Not luckily, I worked hard for it, but thank God, 4 months for me, I have the wherewithal to be able to be okay. Look, at least I know I'll be able to put gas in my car, if you will, right? But 4 months from now, I might be in a fucking wheelchair by then. Because of how quickly the use of my hips is degrading. Instead of 2 months from now it's 4 months. In 4 months, I might be in a wheelchair. Had it stayed 2 months, I'd have been able to get in there. So what I'm simply saying is the effects on different people, there's different types of effect. Like when you asked me before what was my personal effect, it didn't come to mind. Maybe the personal effect for me wasn't monetary.
Psychological war.
Or psychological. For me, it's physical in that it affected when my surgery is going to take place.
What is psychological too? It's got to be pure hell.
It is psychological. So now I'm like, damn, in 4 months, I may need a wheelchair instead of a cane. See what I'm saying? So, and that's just one of the different ways.
It seems to me you're tough enough, you know what I mean? Because I don't even think I'm that tough. Tell you the truth.
Well, no, I mean, you get used to it, right? But it's an existence that you can say, okay, it will be corrected. And the thing is like, I know that like I'm young enough that once I got a lot of living to do, once I get myself corrected, I'm not going to necessarily return to doing scenes again, but I know a lot of different ways that I had fun experiencing life that I look forward to returning to that had nothing to do with sex.
Yeah, I mean, not from experience, but I have a good thought process and I understand.
Yeah.
You don't know how lucky you have it sometimes. With all your body parts, all your reflex, all your senses are intact.
Everything working
fine. You don't know how lucky you are until you lose some of it. And then you're like, what the fuck?
Dude, when I see people jogging, right? You know, I'm like, man, what? You know, I can't wait to be able to jog again, or more specifically, ride my bike, because I'm an avid cyclist and mountain biker. Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's real. If OnlyFans, right, and the tube sites are making great profits because people are on there now watching, right? Do you think they should give back to the studios, to the performers who have accounts and media, you know, studios like mine, or the talent like you, or you have your own studio too? Should they give back a 5% relief fund, or, you know, monetization?
Well, I think that any of those entities, if they were to offer a relief, that it wouldn't be specifically something that should go to the studios, because I think that instead of offering a relief to the studio, I think that the buyers that have bought stuff from the studios, we want them to settle their accounts. So my accounts receivables, I want to settle my accounts receivables in this time of need. I'm not asking for a handout. I'm asking for that buyer of mine to pay me what they owe me. That's what will sustain me through this tough time. So I'm not asking for any more. I'm just saying, can you pay me? Because now I need you to pay me more than ever. That's for the studios.
Instead of people stealing the content, or what do you mean?
No, I'm saying like instead of, say, Pornhub, instead of them, or those that own Pornhub and what have you, instead of them giving a relief fund to the studio house, those that owe the studio house money on their books, they should be made whole. So if a buyer of mine owes me $200,000 outstanding, I'm not asking for relief from the federal government or from anybody. I'm just saying, hey, you know, my buyers, pay me what you owe me, and then I can get through this tough time. I'm not asking for any more than what you owe me. Now, that's as a studio. That's for me as a producer and an owner of a company. If I'm just a performer, and the same questions posed to me in regards to performers, I think those entities would be a good resource to fund some sort of help for performers. Yeah, because if the performers are not able to sustain themselves, then the infrastructure of the industry which is talent, will be unavailable. Yeah. Because everybody's gonna be like, well, shit, I haven't been able to pay for my test, so I can shoot, so I can be available to shoot. You know, my diet has went to hell in a handbasket, so now I'm, people are not looking as fit as before. You know, and these might be things that people might consider superficial, but what happens if people that are in a cash and go business, and then their ability to earn the cash goes, right? Well, do they leave LA? Do they go back home to wherever they lived at before they moved to chase their dreams in Los Angeles? Do they return to Idaho or Missouri or Miami? See what I'm saying? Or Philly, right? And then therefore the
leave their apartment, leave everything behind.
And that's the impact of the economy, because in LA, if they can't pay their rent, then what do? They're not, now you've been living in an apartment as a talent, as a 22-year-old, and you're paying X amount of dollars for your apartment. Now you can't do that anymore. Well, you're not going to go live it on the street, because you're not going to go from living in an expensive apartment to living on the street. So you return to your original place of residence. You go home
to your mother and father,
to your family's house.
A lot of the talent, we're older, but a lot of the talent are younger.
Yep.
So they still have relationships.
Connections to their home. Yep. And so therefore you see someone's pulling out the stopper in the drain at the bottom of the sink, and then it's all going to begin to swirl and begin to dissipate down the drain.
And then they're going to have to go run, to do a sprint to try and catch up.
Yeah.
And we all know not everybody can sprint fast enough to catch the fast person.
Yeah, and they'll be grabbing on each other's ankles, thusly the crabs in a barrel mentality that has a way of pulling everybody down.
Yeah. Let's talk about this subject. let's talk about when the performers go back to work, when everything clears up, right? Kind of clears up. The psychology that's going to be left behind, almost like a scar, a battle scar left stuck in your side or in your side of your head. You go to the set, right? How are the people going to react when they got to kiss somebody, right? Or even do a three-way kiss, right? What is going to go through their head? Is it going to hurt the emotion, the passion, because that person, sneezed? What's it going to happen?
Well, in all honesty, TT, I think that, as you know, in our industry, there's a bit of once you get behind the velvet rope or behind the veil, I think a lot of defenses go down. Whereas, that the test you got done at Talent Testing Center is the same that your counterpart got, right? So now that you both had the same test, you're like, okay, we can fuck bareback because your test is no better than mine and vice versa. So I think that goes the same way in terms of if you are behind that velvet rope and so is your female counterpart, I don't think there would be any hesitance in the kissing because there's going to be that feeling or the notion that that person is as healthy or has been as cognizant of their health and concern as you have and maintain their health, which could be bullshit. But in most cases, I don't think people hold, once people are said able to go back to work, I don't think there'll be hesitance to the interaction.
Will they implement the COVID test into the array of other tests?
They couldn't.
Imagine that.
No, they couldn't and they wouldn't because number one, it'd be too expensive. And number two, the results, it took years for us to get to the point where the tests were overnight. And so how long will it take before the test for for this, how long before that develops to a point where it'll be pervasive enough that every person can get it once a month? I mean,
15 days, I thought they're doing the testing.
Is the turnaround?
Oh, I thought the normal test every 15 days you have to test.
So that would be twice a month.
Twice. But let's play devil's advocate, right? Let's say... Let's say this. Let's say, okay, they implement the test.
Right.
A COVID test. Because I know, and you probably know, that the people behind the testing centers are really in it for the money. They want to make money. I know stories from way back, I know stories before.
Right.
How people came to own AIM. Testing center. I know the beginning. So let's say that, okay, they implement this test twice a month because you take your test twice a month now. Every 15 days, most people are here. So now the person has the test. It's a clean test. 2 days later, they're sniffling and sneezing, and they caught it.
Right.
But they have a clean test, right? This is totally, wild, right? And now they are popular performers. They have to make their quota, make their money, pay their bills. They like having sex.
Right.
So they, sniffle and sneeze and act like they're, it's allergies, blah, blah, boom, ba, bang. What liabilities are possessed now? What liabilities do the companies have to look out for? What is going to come their way? And what is that person who gives it to the next person? What is his liability? Because now he did 20 scenes in that 15-day period. What impact is it going to have on the business?
Wow, interesting. I think that the individual performer would not be held liable for that. I think the onus will fall upon the studio. See what I'm saying? Because if someone's going to sue me personally for giving them something, I can argue, how do you know it was me that gave this to you? Right? And medicine can be proven one way or the other in my favor or in that other person's favor. Okay. So that's a gray area, which means anyone can win. But if you look at it, if you were to sue a studio, that the studio is the one that would, as a studio head, I would say, you know what, maybe I'm not going to shoot a goddamn thing right now because I'm the one that would be sued. It's not only the assumption that it's a studio that will be able to sustain a lawsuit financially, but who else are you going to think of to sue first, right? And who's going to come to the defense of that studio? Because if you sue a studio, you can actually bring in the state on your own behalf to go in with you against a studio, but the studio will not be able to acquire the state to go in on their behalf against an individual. Right.
Which is kind of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, which you're fucked. If you're as a studio, you're fucked. So yeah, it would behoove the studios to be like, you know what, I want to keep it on lockdown till this is completely cleared. And you know, from a talent standpoint, you know, maybe they want to limit the amount of exposure that they have in this interim. I'm not saying stop fucking. See what I'm saying? But maybe you know the people that you're doing or you're performing with a little bit more than say just someone that I schedule you guys to work together. Mm-hmm. Like for instance, like there are girls I know right now that I could call and I would not have a hesitancy in working with them right now, just because I know who they are, I know their lifestyle a little bit more than some other person that might just be the girl that I meet when I come to shoot on a given day.
Yeah. Well, what if, right? The 90 days is up, right? And they say everybody goes back to work, but you're going to have to keep your mask, keep social distancing, right? And the little traces that are left of the COVID are out there, right? They're lingering. So be cautious, be careful. So now the studios have to make the decision. What happens if they say, you know, because we know how people are, 50% will, 50% won't, 30 will, 70 won't. You know what I mean? We don't know for sure, but what kind of nightmare is that going to impose?
If someone comes up positive?
No. What kind? Yeah, they come up positive, but they stop shooting a lot. You know, and we, like you say, we know that you like to have sex, but people are going to be more sensitive to picking who they work with. Mm-hmm. They're going to be more paranoid. It's going to be, I mean, I would think it's going to be a trip.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think that power will be wrested away from the studio, from the producer, because the casting is coming from the producer and therefore the director. So I don't think that talent will all of a sudden be able to gain any more control over who they're cast with in someone else's production. But as I said earlier, with individuals becoming their own studio house in and of themselves, they still maintain all the control that they would need to say, hey, I want to work with this person versus that person. But
it will have an effect, I think, on some people. I think it will have, you know, the percentage. We don't know the percentage, but we're going to see. It's going to have some type of effect. And it might even discourage
does it mean
new people coming in?
Right. So then is there going to be a situation where people, our counterparts, our European counterparts, will not be welcome to Los Angeles? Like, say, like if someone's coming in from Milan, right, or someone's coming in from Barcelona, or any of the European cities, are they going to be barred from working with the American talent? Now, as American talent, when we go to Czech Republic or to Budapest, right, are they going to reject male talent and female talent to travel from here to there? You know what I'm saying?
On that aspect, I can pretty much tell you that it's always based on one thing: who has the power, who has the money, and who doesn't have the money. Mm-hmm. You know, on that aspect. You know, third world countries like Budapest or Czech, I wouldn't think they have as much power, in my personal opinion, than a combined union almost of, you know, the Valley and Vegas. That's I would kind of think. You know?
Yeah, they're certainly not less centralized than we are here. Yeah. Right. But by the same token, our centralization means that we are controlled in a way that they are not controlled.
Exactly.
You know,
just like South America not controlled.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I still think that it's gonna really fuck with your head, because if you're a germophobia, and some people are, you know, and it's a different world from what I feel in the business than what it used to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From when you came, because you came in, it was still fairly free.
Yeah.
You know, free thinking. You know?
Yeah.
Right? It was fun. You know, it was for fun. But you're paranoid, and you look across the room, and you look at your partner, right? Let's just say 2 months, 3 months. And you see this person's got a hell of a cold, right? And they look red all around their face, and then, you know, they're coughing. What do? Run?
Well, I mean, look, I would hope that
They look like shit, man. Come on, they need their money, so yeah, you would hope.
You would hope that a person is going to be able to walk or be afforded the ability to walk away, because you can't necessarily accuse that person that you're looking at and say, "Hey, that person looks sick. I want them out of there." You can remove yourself. You can't necessarily force them to remove that person that you think is not feeling that well or is visibly under the weather.
But the director's got to look at the guy and say, "I don't even want to come near him."
Like you would hope that whoever hires that person is like, you know what, maybe I need to give that person some time to be on the sidelines, and maybe I'll hire that person in a couple. I don't know. I mean, and the thing about it too is, wait,
hold on. I don't want to stop you, but I got to throw this in. They're running behind the performers late. the performers late, right? And he covers it up until the scene gets going.
Yeah.
And then he's coughing all over.
He's like sneezing on the bitch right from 2 feet away.
Or
right
the girl sneezing on his dick.
Yeah.
What the hell? What goes through your head? I'm going to, get sick and maybe give it to my family, maybe my child, maybe my mother.
Look, but the money, just like you said, will they go back to saying, "Damn, but I need to get paid"? You know what I'm saying? And do they stay in there and and maybe after they're done, do they say, "I got to wash my hands and my face,
gargle
and take a hot shower a couple times over,
steam yourself,
some betadine or whatever"?
No, I mean, imagine the effect it's going to have psychologically. It's going to hurt to see it. It will fuck a scene up. They can stop the scene right in the middle of it. The girl will be like, "I'm leaving," or the guys would be like, I can't do this.
Well, it's crazy because we're in it really effectively is a sporting event. And I think a lot of ideas and attitudes will change as we see the return of professional sports on TV. And then people will have changing mindsets towards physical activity.
It's really gonna be a mental fuck here.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like when, the UFC, for instance, or boxing, in the proximity of the people working together, that is analogous to porno. And what I mean by that, obviously, is just the proximity and the fact that there is an exchange of bodily fluid, right? Mm-hmm. So that being said, is porno going to say, "Hey, when we see the pugilist sports come back above board and online and safe, can we get back to going back to fucking?" And I think that it will be a detriment to the individuals that are in front of the camera if there is a release of the lockdown. Because I think that we're not there yet to go back to such physical contact. For the purposes of so someone can have new porno, nah, I don't think so.
Well, I mean, I see that what I'm kind of saying almost, right, is that this is after we've all been kind of cleared up. So when you look across, now you're just going to be a paranoid. You're like, you've been scarred.
Yeah.
You're going to be tripping. You know? Yeah, I mean, in the majority, you might think, right?
No, I know. Like, and it's not a year from now. It's not 8 months from now. It's 6 months from now, you know?
Yeah. A year from now, you know how people's mind are. If everything clears up, then it's all good.
It might be forgotten. But 6 months from now, okay, for instance, in January, we are in April now. So as we get into the award season of your fall, your October, November, your Decembers, by January, will the convention be the notion of conventions, whether it's the Erotica in New Jersey in October or whether it's Avian in January in Las Vegas, are we seeing the death of the convention as we've known it, because the proximity of the star and the fan is now going to have to be, changed? Like, will there be the going away of hugging in pictures, kissing the talent, or kissing the fan putting their hands on the female talent?
Yeah, the female talent be like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah. So I'm saying now the consumer's going to be like, well, if I can't, if I can't get a picture next to my favorite star for a selfie, you know what I'm saying, are they going to stop coming? Does the convention need fans where you have such commerce happening in the business suites at this time of year? Does the convention still have its same, feeling if it's devoid of fans and it's just business meetings taking place upstairs?
Well, I think you made a good point there. When the fans come and see the girl, that's going to be a bigger deal, because sometimes the girls don't want to be touched anyways. But this is really going to distance. This is going to distance the whole world, and this is going to stop population, like I had suggested before, I believe. Let's say this. This is another example, maybe, of chaos. Because we know rumors, right? Performer Joe or Performer X goes on the set, right, like we just said, and he has sex with, Performer YZ, right? Then the rumor starts that X gave COVID to YZ, even though it's kind of dying down a little bit. Now, this person has COVID, right? And is known to give it. What the hell? What kind of rumor is that going to make? What kind of wildfire is that going to do to some performer?
Well, look, if you look at the demographic that populates this industry, it's not a demographic that is being earmarked for those at greatest risk for COVID-19. The only cross-reference you would see is those whose respiratory systems are weakened because of recreational use of nicotine products and or marijuana-oriented products, which involve a smoking or respiratory inhaling of the leaf or the flower.
Alcohol.
Does alcohol?
No, I don't know if it hits your respiratory.
Not your respiratory, but your immune system.
And does it? It hits your kidney, right? So it's gonna be part of the immune system.
Yeah.
So will that hurt you with digesting food too, which could be respiratory?
I think if the person number X, I think that individual's feet will not be held to the fire. I think the industry as a whole will get murdered in media. Like as soon as one person tests positive for COVID, we're all going to take a hit in terms of this industry.
There you go. That's a great point.
Yeah. So it's not going to matter who the individual is.
No, but if that individual does, he's going to be extra murdered, hung on the gallows.
But the industry is going to be like they're going to come down on the industry like, you see, we knew what was going to happen, and look what now, and we haven't been a part of the problem.
Anyways, that's a great point. That'll be great for the media.
Yeah.
And the multi-billion-dollar porn industry is now shut down once again.
Yeah.
COVID has hit it high, and it's high and dry, and it's blah 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 blah.
And it could actually mutate to something that would say, oh, the industry is taking advantage of these fallen individuals who are part of their talent pool, you know. And so then as studio owners, studio heads, we're going to be made out to look like assholes because we're hiring these wayward, youthful talent that, you know.
All the poor victims.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? So,
who want to have fun and fuck bust and not make quick, easy money.
Yeah.
You know?
So, you know.
So let's say this, because you know, this has a plus and a minus, right? Yeah. Right? Are the couples going to have more babies or are they going to have more divorces? What do you think?
You know, I would say that it'll be more babies. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because if, you know, for a number of reasons, if you look at from a religious aspect, the majority of the world, you know, is going to be looking towards frowning upon abortion, and therefore the close proximity of couples commingling resulting in pregnancies that will not be terminated in most cases globally. Wow. So you have an increase there. Conversely, in those same Catholic households, the notion of divorce is frowned upon as well. So therefore, you have one aspect which is being controlled to not increase by religion, and one aspect is that would serve to increase is also caused by religion. So you would almost have to take and see where there is a connection a causal connection between religion and this circumstance, and where that path leads you to get to some of the answers that we can't find right now.
But I mean, that sounds good, but let's face the facts, right? Mm-hmm. These are the true facts. A lot of people, married couples, or boyfriend, girlfriend couples, mm-hmm. A lot of them have jobs, you know? Right. Both have jobs. Mm-hmm. Both sexes have jobs. Mm-hmm. They work 9 to 5, hour to get ready, hour to get back home. Mm-hmm. Maybe, you know, they spend 10 hours a day, 11 hours a day working. Mm-hmm. So they have 3 or 4 hours left mm-hmm. to hang out.
And that's it.
Right? Mm-hmm. Now, they've got, you know, what, 14 hours a day, 15 hours a day to hang out, and they don't really know their other spouse as much. And now they're like, fuck this motherfucker, right? Or fuck this bitch, right? People are like, let me out of here, right? And they're going to be like, wow, the resentment builds, the wild, you know?
I don't think that will cause...
divorce?
No.
No? Okay.
Because it's cheaper to stay together.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, some people don't have to live that way. They can be free. Some people can be free. You know, they don't gotta...
Man.
No?
Nah. The majority of the people... in the United States of America, could not, you know, are in their marriages because there's an economic, there's an economic aspect that would preclude them walking away from it.
Sometimes I think
that kids or you know, you don't think that financially you'll be able to grow old by yourself. There's, you know, I mean, you know, shoot.
Yeah, I mean. I could believe it.
Yeah.
I could believe it. Any other comments? I mean,
no. The only other comments I would say is that I think that we're gonna find out sometime down the road what we've been through. I think while we're in it, let's just look at how to deal with it, and then think a little bit less about what the future might hold, but more about what we need to do today, because this is what we do today and right now that will affect tomorrow and the future. So let's not look too far ahead to the future. Once again, let's say, hey, let's fix today. The future will take care of itself.
Yeah, I don't think things are going to be the same. I'm curious to see what happens, but I think we pretty much hit every point, right? Yeah. Basic points, I think. Yeah. We went a little extra.
Well, you know,
out there in the paranoia world.
Hey, we give them. Hey, you know what? We give them what they pay for.
So shit. Thanks, Lex.
No doubt.
Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Of course. This was his idea, so I appreciate that.
Oh no, gotta get it out there, man.
It's TTBoy TV with Lex. We out.
Peace.